welcome back to my YouTube channel. Like I mentioned in my previous video, for those who haven't watched, I finished my second year of reading law at the University of Cambridge. So what I thought I would do in this video would be just to reflect on how second year has gone. Best way to summarise second year is that it's been a year of ups and downs, and that's normal in many respects, but for me a lot has happened in this year. A lot of good things, but also a lot of difficult things and some moments where it has been really challenging. So I just wanted to talk through how it has gone. Let's start off with the modules. So for those who haven't watched my videos, I did 5 modules for second year. So I did contract law and land law, which I needed to do because they were compulsory modules. But I also had the option of choosing 3 optional modules. So I did international law, administrative law and family law. And overall, I enjoyed those modules. They were interesting, they were different, but it was quite good to look at the cases and to look at the different principles. My favourite has to be administrative law. I enjoyed doing constitutional law in my first year. And one aspect of that was judicial review. So the ability of an individual or group to bring a claim against a public authority, for example, if the claim is that they are overusing their power or not using their power for the proper purpose, the purpose that it was intended for. So to be able to do that in a lot more detail in administrative law was really good and really interesting and very much enjoyed it. But I also enjoyed contract law as well. So looking at, for example, the formation of a contract, or looking at how contracts may be discharged, for example, a party breaching the contract, or the frustration of a contract, for example. So I enjoyed the modules and the supervisions. The nice thing about second year is you are used to it a lot more. In first year, the first supervision, I can still remember being nervous for it because I never experienced it before. But at least in second year, I was more familiar with it. I knew what was expected. I know a lot more would have been expected in second year compared to first year, but at least I was a bit more familiar with it, and I did enjoy those supervisions. The supervisors were really good and really helpful, often clarifying something that I wasn't sure about. For those who don't know what supervisions are small group discussions in a way. They're normally about an hour, and it's an opportunity to go through any questions that were said, or go through something that we didn't understand in the lectures, or go through an exam question, or just get something clarified and have that discussion in a lot more detail on the individual topics for the modules. So it's a really good way of learning, and it has been really good to learn those modules. But where it's sometimes been difficult is sometimes, especially in Lent term, there was the feeling of it getting a little bit too much. So what I mean by that is it was trying to find a balance between doing that work but also doing my work at the union, my YouTube channel, but also friendships and other things happening in my life as well. And that got a bit difficult in Lent. I know I can remember around about, I think it must have been week 5 or week 6. It was before a supervision that I was going to have for family law. And I remember going into the supervision and not feeling 100%. And I knew I wasn't feeling 100% because I wasn't investing myself into the supervision. And it was around that time that things were getting stressful, and I knew it was getting stressful just because things were not quite happening, or there was just a lot of things happening at that particular time. And I think the work did contribute to that, but and I'll talk about this a little bit more in detail later. What I realised is, first of all, there was friends that were there to support me, but also that it was about taking time and just stepping back a bit and trying to get things organised in my own time, if you see what I mean. So the work was good, but sometimes it did feel a lot. Of course, due to the current pandemic, Easter term was online, so we had our exams online, and that was different. But like I mentioned in my previous video, for those who haven't watched, recommend you go and watch that. But what I mentioned in that was being able to have the time to think about the questions in a lot more detail, and think more about the quality of what I was answering, rather than trying to get good answers down, but of course be limited by only having 3 hours as opposed to having the 24-hour period. We weren't expected to use the 24-hour period, but at least we had a bit more time there when we had the opportunity to take breaks, which was quite useful for me. Just think about the social side of it. So I continue to be involved with the Cambridge Union. I know I've mentioned it dozens of times in my vlogs, and it was now videos on my channel which you can check out on that. But I continued on with that. So Michaelmas, I was head of events management, so I focused on the logistics around preparing for the events, delegating stewards, different tasks, and just making sure every event was prepared for. And then for Lent and for Easter terms, I have been the video editor. So I've ran the YouTube channel, which seems quite appropriate. And I've enjoyed that. It's been really good to be involved with the union. Fantastic events that they've put on. There was Lord Sumption in Michaelmas who I was able to meet. Really good events that have been on throughout the year, and really good people that I've gotten to know, new people, people that I'm familiar with from when I was working with them in first year. And yeah, it's just been really good at the union. I've enjoyed being able to be involved. I even put myself forward for election this term, so it was around about the time of the exam, so not the best of timing for me. And the elections for Lent 2021 were happening a couple of weeks ago, and I put myself forward to be executive officer. And one of the duties of the executive officer is basically to prepare the events, help get the speakers for those debates. And I put myself forward. I didn't succeed, which, look, I'm disappointed, but I'm glad I put myself forward. I knew it was quite a big thing to put myself forward in the first place. I had actually considered putting myself forward to serve in Michaelmas 2020, so for my first term in third year. But that was around about Lent term, and it was around about the time that I, like I mentioned, was finding things difficult. And so I decided that it wasn't right to put myself forward at that point. But yeah, so there was that as well. But I still plan to continue to be involved with the union. I will continue to be involved until I leave Cambridge. So yeah, I look forward to whatever we do. We've still been putting even events on in Easter, even though we've been online, we've still been putting events on. We've still had a couple of socials. So, you know, we're doing our best with the current situation. And of course, I've had good opportunities to hang out with friends. So I've continued cooking with Henry. I went to Astrid and Tamer's 21st. I went to Henry's 21st, albeit that being online as opposed to being in person in Cambridge. And so, yeah, I've still been able to socialise and have good times with my friends. And I think I might mention this in a previous video at some point, there have been a couple of times, especially in that Lent term, where I felt a bit lonely and I felt everything was just building up. There was a lot of things happening. I'm going to do a video some point in the future about something that happened during Lent term, something that I found out during Lent term. But I'm going to dedicate a specific video on that, just to talk about that in a lot more detail, because I think that warrants more discussion around that, if you see what I mean. But I can remember in Lent term was a lot of work and a lot of commitment, and I even found love, but then that came to an end, but we are still friends. And I can remember it feeling too much at times, but like I mentioned before, I did have my friends there. I can remember two of my friends, Martha and Hannah, who were really good to me around about the end of Lent term, and I spent time with them, just talked about how things had gone, what problems I was facing, because of course I had those problems, and then this whole pandemic situation arose as well to add on top of that. But I've found that I've had friends to support me, and I just need to take steps and just to make sure that I look after my mental health. I think one of the big takeaways from this year has been to look after my mental health a lot more. And I don't think I've done that as much, nor have I considered a lot about it in the past. But this year has definitely called me to reflect a lot more on that and trying to do my best around that. But, you know, I've had great moments this year. I've had great moments with my friends. I can remember one time, I think it was a Michaelmas. It was either Michaelmas or Lent. I think it might have been Lent actually, when we had a debate, and then afterwards we just decided to go clubbing. Just completely spontaneous, and that was a good night, and that was really good fun. So I've had really good moments. I've been involved a little bit in the Cooler or the Cambridge University Liberal Association, just going to their socials like spirited discussions, going to their annual dinner, and I've had good times there. And yeah, I've had the opportunities to catch up with good friends. Of course, I'm going to miss friends like Henry and Astrid, who were in their third year and who will be graduating, so they won't necessarily be around as much as they were this year, but I'm sure we'll have opportunities to catch up with them, and there'll be new opportunities in third year, and I am looking forward to third year. It's going to be different third year in a number of ways, but I am sure that it will be interesting, exciting, and just an opportunity to develop a lot more. Like I said, and what this video indicates, is second year has been a year of ups and downs. And that's nothing unusual in life. But I can take a lot away from this year, and a lot about looking after mental health, being a little bit more organised, but also knowing that I've got friends and others to support me. So I just wanted to talk about how second year has gone, and just talk about how I felt about it, and also just looking a bit towards third year as well. I hope you found this video interesting, or just something to listen to, something to watch, something to pass the time with. I don't mind. But I hope you have found it at least something to watch. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to do the usual things like liking the video, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. You can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Why haven't you? There's videos going to be coming out. Watch this space with us, so make sure you subscribe. How can you do that, you might ask? Well, if you click the bottom right hand corner where it says subscribe, then you can do so. And you can also share the video, comment if you've got any questions or queries or suggestions. Really grateful if you had any suggestions for videos I could do. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in the next video.